You know, there are times where you finally open up as a man to your spouse and you're actually kind of sharing what's going on in your life and the feelings that you're dealing with, but it seems like either you're getting cut off when you speak, you don't have an opportunity to really share what you want to say because somehow it turns back on you. And so it leads to just frustration. Are you constantly arguing with your wife over the small things, like all the time? And yet, on top of that, it doesn't seem like there's any type of resolution to any of the issues, that they remain open and never getting closed. I'm gonna tell you this now. If that is you, these are just a few signs that are letting you know that your marriage needs some serious help. So, what I want to do today is give you 5 issues or 5 signs, along with 5 fixes that will help you and your marriage to bounce back and get back in order. So, if you like what you're hearing today, like, comment, subscribe. All of those things just help out. But please do me a favor, truly like and comment, because at the end of the day, I love to know what you guys think. Because the 5 that I have today, you guys might have more signs that might need to be added, right? Where you might see, oh, okay, something else is missing. Also, the fixes. If there are fixes that you guys see that you've applied in your own home, then by all means, please put it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And as you know, if you've ever watched any of my videos, I respond to pretty much everything in there. So we're just going to go ahead and jump on into this because I know that there's a lot here. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a part 2 with this yet. It just depends on how we kind of progress through this thing. But I really want to make sure we spend time talking about all of this. So the first one that I have that I want to talk about is the communication breakdown specifically. Usually in marriage, communication is key, right? You hear this not just for your marriage, but on your job, with your friends, your family, whomever. However, communication is extremely important. And once the communication starts to break down in the marriage, there's a lot of things that come from that. Number one, you're going to have arguments, right? What kind of arguments? Well, just everything. Like I said earlier, you guys argue about everything. Doesn't matter what it is anymore. Someone says hi. Well, I don't like the way you said hi. It's the tone in which the hi became a major problem, right? And if that's the case, then Lord, it happens. So I'm not like trying to make light of this situation. And I'm bringing this stuff up because I know you've dealt with this somewhere along the way in your marriage. But yes, constant arguments is just always happening, right? Feeling unheard. Ooh, come on now. You know, there are times where you finally open up as a man to your spouse and you're actually kind of sharing what's going on in your life and the feelings that you're dealing with. But it seems like either you're getting cut off when you speak, you don't have an opportunity to really share what you want to say because somehow it turns back on you. And so it leads to just frustration overall, right? Because it just seems like you're trying to communicate or she's trying to communicate, and there's just not a real way of allowing that person to share their real feelings without being unheard, unless you take time to really listen. Now, some people might say, okay, we don't have a problem with that. And that's okay, right? These are just things that I know that I've been through in my past. That have been major problems. And so again, like arguing all the time, you're going to definitely feel unheard. And honestly, another part that people tend to do is try to run away from the conversations. Running away from the really serious, important conversations is just going to make things more difficult because it just shows a maturity level, right? Now, I've done that. That was one of the biggest things for me, was just like trying to find a way to get away from the hard conversations because they're hard. Like, honestly, like I don't care to deal with hard stuff all the time, but I realized through going through those things, it makes you stronger, right? Now, if you're running away from the hard conversations, I'm telling you now, it's just going to be harder eventually because that's what happens. If you don't deal with the issues head on, then you're going to deal with them later. And if you don't deal with them later, then It can get pretty nasty after that. And I just don't think that's really something that you yourself would want to do. So simple ways to fix this. One is just schedule some time, schedule some time to speak with your spouse. Like in the scheduled time, it doesn't even have to be like one time you speak for 4 hours to have a conversation. It's not something you have to do it that way. Now you can, just depends on what's going on in your life, right? Where that might only be the best way to do it. But me and my wife, we used to do these 20-minute check-ins right after work. We would give 20 minutes to settle down, 20 minutes to talk, because there's an adjustment period after being at the job all day. And it depends on your position. I was a manager, she was a supervisor. So we have to adjust from work life to home life. And in those conversations, we can talk about our day, talk about whatever, but also talk about your feelings in the marriage. It's really just being able to find time to speak with each other and get a scale, or kind of find out what's going on in the home. The one thing that I used to do pretty heavily was talk to my wife. I say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing right now? And I wouldn't do it like every Friday. I would do it when I felt like I needed to do it, right? Because it really just comes down to um, good, bad, ugly, and different. I know it's always sounds good to ask when things look good, right? But sometimes you do it anyway because you never really know. She might say something that is better than you thought, or something that ends up worse than you thought. But one way or another, it's always good to kind of get those things to be, you know, on your radar, so you understand like the things that can be fixed. Again, another area here is active listening. I know we spoke about this a few other times in some of the other videos, but active listening is so key. And the way you active listen is just by kind of following or piggybacking off of what she said. It's just like, okay, so what you're saying is this, right? And if she says, no, that's not what I'm saying, then you're not listening, right? If you respond and you respond correctly, she'll say yes, or, she might make it more difficult for you, but there is a way to know that that's happened. But the ultimate goal is to get the response from her to say, like, yes, that is something that, that's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So that's what we look for. And also, I know it's not something that you try to do, but if the communication breakdown is that bad, counseling. Now, some people feel like that's like above them or beneath them, whatever you want to call it. But that stuff is helpful. It can be very helpful if two people are willing to put in the time and effort to really focus on getting the communication down. Sometimes an outsider who is not biased in any form or fashion come in and really start talking with you about those things. Really try to help open up some doors in areas that you just may not have been thinking about. So this is definitely something that needs to be worked on, because if you can't focus on your communication, then the rest of the stuff is going to just fall apart. It will not work. It will be very difficult to have a real conversation. And there's going to be so many things that are just hidden or buried down that you just don't want. So again, communication breakdown is like number one, man. Like, you really got to pay attention to this part in your home. And if this is a portion of what's not happening, this is just a sign. It's not all of them, right? Still have a few more to go, but this is definitely one. If this is just a few things that you have not done or you see happening in your home, then understand this could be a problem. So I'm going to carry this on in another video, because I already see the videos going kind of long and I still got 4 more things to cover. So I want to make sure that we actually do those things. I don't want to make the video too long, because I want to keep you engaged too. Like, all right, man, let's get to it. But check me out in the next video. But in the meantime, on this one specifically on communication breakdown, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think so far. Am I missing something? I know what I've been through in my life. So these are areas that I recognized and things that helped me as well too. So let me know what helped you. Let me know what hurt you. And we'll go from there. All right. Talk to you soon. See ya.